Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
Well, I would say I feel like I have a challenging relationship with it now only because I have two little kids and you want to like capture it. It's like always a balance to me between capturing the moment and being present in the moment. And I feel like, especially with two little ones, it's really hard to do both. So I feel like my wife constantly has her phone out. So all of our pictures are of me and the two boys and not her and the boys. And I don't know if it's because there's so much that comes with the phone, right? Like it's impossible to pick up your phone and not have some sort of notification, whether it's an email or a text message or a bank balance or whatever, right? Like, so it isn't just picking up a camera. So I think that's a completely different thing. It's easy to get sucked in, but then also being like, I don't performative. I mean, that's kind of where photography is for me right now is with my kids. And I feel like making them perform to capture an image that is representative of what we're doing takes away from the realness of what we're doing. So I feel like that's a little bit hard for me now. I mean, I think always there's those images that you see that move you, but in real life, it's hard to see how to do both. And I feel like I'm so much more weighted now in trying to be present that I think I err on the side of not enough capture.
Perfect. Amazing. Ash Beckham. If I butcher your name, I'm sorry. But Ash Beckham, right? That's your name? Ash Beckham?
That's it. Nailed it.
Great. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. Eventually, maybe tangentially, we'll get to address the question of, if life is a gift, how do we make every second count? I'm just going to get to know you. And I can tell right away from your energy and from your, let's just call it your personal brand, that you're giving a lot of energy forward, and I love it. Like, it's waking me up. Thank you so much.
Good.
So where in the world are you? I mean, I'm in Hong Kong and you are in?
I'm in Longmont, Colorado, which is right outside of Boulder, probably 35 minutes from Denver.
Oh, nice. Okay. I've never been, but it seems to be fine if you're there. So cool. Let's jump into the first photo, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So in a way, what's great is that you've curated the conversation, and we'll see where we end up. Okay. Oh, great. Okay. So the mechanics or the jeopardy of the show is that I don't look at the photos beforehand. So I don't know what I'm going to get, and I don't research my guests. And you're going to be like, who is this clown? The photo it looks like a book cover. At the top in black letters says Ash Beckham, and then Step Up in really big, bright white letters, and How to Live with Courage. Oh, How to Live with Courage and Become an Everyday Leader. Okay, and then what it is, it's like the person is like standing on a red, it's like a red painted pavement or something. But it's a red field, and you see somebody's feet. So they're like photographing their feet from above, and they're wearing black, I don't know, leggings, I guess, and white Converses maybe with white laces. So it's very stark. Like whoever designed this knows how to design a book cover. It's beautiful, very dramatic. You don't know me, I don't know you. How to Live with Courage and Become an Everyday Leader. You have no idea how much I connect to that. So, look, take it away.
Oh yeah, well that was one of the most challenging things I've ever done was write a book. I was lucky enough that I did a couple TED Talks and they got traction online and went viral and was kind of launched into the speaking career.
Oh, wow.
And there, there's kind of this like route that it takes, right? Like your legitimacy maybe is rooted in whether or not you've written a book. And I like never, even though I wrote the speeches and delivered the speeches, like, it was almost like it was if you didn't have something to sell at the conference bookstore, were you as good as people thought you were, right? And so that didn't feel like a fit for me. Like I never considered myself a writer. People are like, well, if you do, a blog post every day, you've got 365, you like have enough. But I didn't want just words, right? Like,
right.
I wanted there to be a message. And so I didn't, I had this, I had a talk and it kind of pulled it out to like an hour long keynote address that I was giving at universities and corporate environments and conferences and
Wow.
all that kind of stuff. But I was like, how do you make that a book? And then I was around all these people in these environments that were like, and it was the kind of this tack from like living authentically, and it kind of transitioned to inclusivity and
Hmm.
authenticity being a leadership style. And so people would come up to me and say, "Oh, Ash, I loved your talk. It was so great. When I get a promotion, when I finish my degree, when I manage a budget line that is X, when I have this many direct reports, I can't wait to use your leadership style." And I was like,
Okay.
no, 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 no. Like, that's not it. Like everybody, I would be in these rooms and I'd be like, who thinks they're a leader? And 40% of the people would raise their hand. And then I would say, who thinks the person sitting next to them is leader? And everyone would raise their hand, right? It was like a
Hmm.
self-perception issue.
Ah.
So the book was kind of this way, I mean, twofold, right? Like that anybody from like the C-suite to sit in the bench on the fifth grade basketball team, right? Like you can lead from exactly where you are. And then to bring in these ideas of authenticity and humility and empathy and courage and grace and these ideas that like every situation for you to be a leader, you kind of have to select what type of leader you want to be. Like it's always authentic. They say whenever if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But if you have
Hmm.
all of these tools that you can draw from, you can almost like curate this recipe for this situation to be the leader that you need to be and that you want to be in that situation. And so that was the impetus of the book. And that, when I kind of came to that point, I was like, okay, I can write about that.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
that feels impactful. That feels meaningful. That to me isn't like words on a page. It's like a recipe book kind
Okay. I invite you to take a breath. That was amazing. That was great.
of.
Okay, so in my history, for 15 years, I worked with Po Chung, who was a co-founder of DHL. So DHL is a global courier, and when I met him, he always spoke about leadership in a way like leadership to him was very present. Like it really talked about leadership as a thing, and that was the crux of most of the work that we did. So when people imagine like because we're in a more corporate business setting, like when people and here's a guy who arguably was the leader of Asia Pacific arm of DHL, which is just humongous.
Yeah.
Yeah, just humongous. And so when I talked to him, so part of what my role was to do was to help him write books and to figure out how to articulate his leadership philosophy and tips. So we would say that leadership is kind of like it's a distributed network. It's like a scaffold, right? So instead of the idea being like a pyramid where everything leads to the top and it's command and control and top down. So there's one leader at the top, capital L. But no, it's more like every day we all have opportunities to lead. It's like there's this vacuum that we step into. So I'm sorry. I saw your book. It's your fault that you got me all riled up because how to live with courage and become an everyday leader. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I love it. No, and that's amazing. And to think this, I love the scaffolding analogy just because nobody realizes, I don't think, not many people realize that the freedom that comes to the leader when they don't feel like they're at the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a mental adjustment. I think you have to check your ego for sure. But
Hmm.
when you do it and you see making the people and scaffolding and supporting the people around you to be better and grow to the greatest of their ability, is when you are doing your best.
Yeah.
And that reflects well on you as opposed to someone taking your job, someone taking credit. Like all of that stuff goes out the
Yeah.
window when you see your role as a supporter. So I've never heard that analogy. I love it.
Well, so yeah, so the idea also is like on a scaffold, and like if you've been to Hong Kong or to Asia,
Yeah.
they'll have a building with this massive scaffold out of bamboo, right? It'll go
Yep.
up 100 stories, and the idea is that at any point on the scaffold, you can have a crisis or a decision point. Like somebody needs to make a decision there and then, or else the whole thing could come down. So if they have to kind of go back to the boss each time, that creates a real makes the issue worse. So like in with
Hmm.
DHL, each courier at the spot had to be a decision maker, had to show leadership or whatever. I'm not doing this to insert. I'm doing this to feed what you're saying because
Of course.
you have no idea the fireworks. I love it. Okay, so how to live with courage. So speak to being to living with courage.
Well, I think it's being comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Like, I don't think you get rid of fear. That's never the point. Like, I mean, I've spoken hundreds, if not thousands of times, and every time I still get a pit in my stomach before I go. It's manageable, but for me, that's kind of my check of like, okay, if I don't have that, I'm either arrogant or apathetic. And those are
Hmm.
two things I don't want to be, right? So I think it isn't the elimination of fear, but the ability to feel fear and act anyway, to me is what courage is. And so being uncomfortable, being willing to be uncomfortable is critical. Like that's the only way we grow is to kind of break it down. And like, that's the thing, exactly what you were saying with the couriers. Like, and I worked internally at UPS when I was in college. And so I feel like I have a very limited
Mm.
scope of that. But you also like to give that control to people, you have to have room. You have to allow them to make mistakes.
Mm.
Like they have to be able to screw up and make their best call. And then the answer isn't you made the wrong call. It's getting information.
Hmm.
They think it's the best call in the moment. Either they don't have all the
Yep.
data or they don't have the experience, but they're better because they made the wrong call. And so you have to have a culture. Now, if they make the same mistake over and over and over again, that's a different story. But you have to allow for people to fail. You have to. Then you get a better system.
You can yeah, listen, for 15 years sitting with Poe, talking about this stuff, listen, that's exactly what he was saying. So for example, in our language, it's this thing, you have to have a culture of trust. So if you can trust that you're allowed to make mistakes, as long as they're not moral mistakes, you're fine. But you have to tell everyone.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that pit in your stomach, it's like you internalize or read that pit as fear.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have courage to push through that. So I love the idea that, and I didn't come up with this, but the idea that, well, what happens if you reinterpret that pit not as fear but as excitement? It's like, oh, I'm about to speak
Mm-hmm.
in front of 1,000 people. What I feel right now is super excited and holding, like I'm jittery and whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's just like, to me, it's less even fear, but like a mindfulness of the weight, right?
Hmm.
Like that there, and to go back to the trust piece, like I think there is a weight in trust, right? People are trusting that the message I have is impactful, that I'm going to
Hmm.
leave people better than I found them. I am trusting in myself that I can deliver that message, that I can read the room, that I've done my homework on the audience to make sure it's most applicable and relatable for them,
Hmm.
right? Like there is weight in that. And so there's like the stress of the positive outcome, right? Like you want it to matter.
Right.
You want what you're doing to matter. And that is just my internal gauge of, is not even fear. Like I don't really fear I'm going to I failed terribly, terribly early in my career at one highly important event
Hmm.
because I didn't want to be afraid.
Ah.
So I had an overconfidence
Okay.
going into it, and it was still, I mean, it was solid. Like it got positive feedback, but it wasn't my best version. Didn't fully take advantage of the opportunity that was in front of me, and I swear I would never do that again.
Hmm.
Right? I would
Hmm.
never be. It changed my relationship with the fear. Right? It was nothing to get rid of.
Yeah, it was a learning moment. So here we are. You're talking about it because you learned something amazing.
Right?
I am so sorry that we have to go on to the next photo.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
And I'm so thankful that we're talking. This is great. Okay.
I love it.
So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please
give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting